but we're gonna get into some of these news stories here, just because we, unlike our other shows, we do like to keep this one a little bit on track. So we're gonna get into some of these news stories if my messenger here opens. Maybe. Okay, there we go. There's all the stuff. Okay, so this comes from Games Radar. The Anthem Endgame seems to have more in common with Diablo 3 than Destiny. BioWare's living game needs to offer players a lot more if it wants to keep them around. It kind of goes into a lot of like what the end game is and stuff. I'm going to try to pick some stuff out of here, so we're not reading this whole article. But you don't become a forever game without some top-notch in-game content. For many players, hitting max level in an MMO like World of Warcraft or a shared world shooter like Destiny is merely the beginning. The gateway to the journey of gear, optimization, and tough-as-nails content you can only hope to conquer in an efficient, coordinated group. BioWare's Anthem definitely has people interested to jump in and pilot their very own Iron Man-esque Javelin suit, but without a great endgame, those players will have little reason to stick around. During some hands-on time with the max-level freelancer decked out with impressive gear, I'm not yet convinced that Anthem's endgame feels distinct enough from the experience you'll get from the first few hours of play. Prospective hardcore Anthem players may want to start adjusting their expectations accordingly. We also discussed this on NGR this week, how I think some people need to temper their expectations of Anthem and not going in and expecting it to be Destiny, but more of like a continuing Mass Effect style game. But with Anthem clearly positioned as EA's long-awaited response to the massively popular Destiny, it's natural to assume that Anthem would deliver the same mix of complex quests, coveted weapons, and engaging, challenging raids. But you ought to start thinking about Anthem's endgame as something more akin to Diablo 3, where the never-ending pursuit of slightly better gear is the primary goal, and the moment-to-moment action doesn't change all that much as a result. Piloting a tricked-out Storm Javelin with a 406 power level, Anthem's version of Destiny's light level, although obviously this guy at Games Radar doesn't play Destiny because it's now called power level. Initially felt cool as I marveled at a fresh set of abilities and effects that made possible by my gear, but when the enemies and encounters you're facing don't seem to have much variety, the thought of spending dozens and hundreds of hours plugging away at the endgame grind seems less and less appealing. The most obvious parallel to Diablo is Anthem's difficulty system. When you first start venturing beyond the relatively safe walls of Fort Tarsus, you'll be able to tackle the mission on easy, normal, or hard difficulties. But at the current cap of level 30, you'll unlock access to 3 tiers of Grandmaster difficulty, where enemies have been juiced up with ridiculously inflated damage and health stats. It doesn't seem like there's much room to play with the number of enemies or the complexity of encounters. Everything that's trying to kill you has a 3,100 increase in its stats on Grandmaster 3. But like Diablo's increasingly tense Torment difficulty levels, it's not that your adversaries get much smarter or more diverse. It's only that they have a much better chance of instantly killing you. So that's then it kind of goes into the weapons and what cataclysms are, but we'll get into all that later. So it kind of seems like they might implement a seasonal system similar to if they're talking endgame with Diablo, because Diablo has the season system where you play a seasonal character and get the gear during that season. So that's kind of what it seems like, and you're going to replay a lot of missions on harder difficulty to get the gear instead of maybe doing raids or endgame stuff like Destiny. So, thoughts on that, guys?
I think people have already been used to that, so I don't think a lot of people won't be worried about it. It really depends on what they're going to be adding down the line for the in-game content, like in the following weeks and months and stuff. That's going to keep Anthem players there, because if people grow tired from Anthem by the time the Division 2 come out, then that in-game content won't even matter. They'll just pop back in when some new stuff comes up.
Yeah.
So
I mean, like,
Well, and I.
oh, go ahead.
Oh, go
Jesse.
ahead. You can go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, this kind of sounds more and more like Warframe, too. You know, because Warframe has a lot of seasonal stuff, and then they'll bring out a big expansion with new sets of missions that you continue to grind out, right? And
Yeah.
it's kind of seems like a AAA budgeted Warframe to me. So
Yeah.
Sorry, Jesse. Go ahead.
And I was gonna say, and I think the thing with the way that they're doing it, like, you know, they'll obviously still have raids and stuff like that, but I feel like
you think
like
they'll add raids?
Well, similar things to it, you know, like they'll have, like, I mean, because you kind of in a way, so the things that they have are I guess they're more like strikes, but like the, you know,
the strongholds.
like yeah, but the thing is, like, I feel like at least like with Destiny, with their raids and things like that, like they don't. I feel like their random multiplayer stuff doesn't work as well in Destiny. Like I feel like at least if they make it where you play the things that we're already playing over again on a harder difficulty to unlock stuff, that's going to be more appealing to the majority of people, you know, like people who like don't really necessarily care about doing strikes or doing raids and stuff like that, like a normal like big massive raid that can take hours to do. You know, like I think it's a kind of a good thing that they're doing it that way. I feel like because then it's not as much of a hassle to try to get things. You just have to, you know, have your level up and you know, after playing it for a while, you know what you're doing, and then, you know, like anyone basically can get the decent, you know, new stuff. So I kind of like that they're doing it that way, to be honest. That they're gonna be, it'll be a payoff to play it, you know, at a harder level.
Yeah, I mean, I as someone who has played a lot of Destiny Strikes and a lot of Endgame for Destiny stuff, like, and doesn't really care for the Diablo style seasonal stuff. You know, I mean, I'm not worried about Anthem because I still think it's a different style of game than Diablo, but like at the same time, comparing it to Diablo is kind of. It puts it more in a different expectation level for me, I would say. I don't want to say it's disappointing. I want to, because that's not disappointing. It's just a different expectation level for me. So
yeah,
it's sorry. It's just, this game just reminds me of Fuse with EA and Insomniac, and I mean, it's better than Fuse, but it just has that feeling of you going from place to place, you're encountering the same enemies, and you could just I think you go back and replay levels to get stronger and stuff. So, but this one just offers more when the game is finished. So I think it's going to really depend on the campaign, on what's all offered there. If there's a lot that's there that people are going to stick with before they even get to the in-game content, I don't think the in-game content will matter, because it's going to be the campaign experience that everybody might enjoy.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna.